Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Here.
Jurdy, Erickson, Briggs,
Here.
Cavalier,
Here.
Kressel,
Here.
Platt,
Here.
Vedbratton.
Here. Okay, it's time for the open forum. If anyone would like to address council on any issue not on tonight's agenda, you come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please. Okay, hearing none from the council. Chad, anybody on the phone bridge, please?
No, Your Honor, I will close the bridge.
Thank you.
Agent logged.
Okay, no presentations. Brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to add or remove anything from tonight's agenda?
Your Honor, under the regular agenda, item 8.07, the resolution did not get attached to the agenda that was sent out. A new copy of the resolution to be approved for the Crookston Sports Center concession and advertising lease agreement is in front of everyone. An updated copy will be on the city's website as well.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Christie. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbratton.
Aye.
Okay.
Consent.
This brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Your Honor, under the consent agenda, item 6.01, approving the proposed city council minutes for March 14, 2022. Under the staff present, I have added Chief Froberg as who was in attendance that night, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Delane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbratton.
Aye.
Okay, we have one public hearing. Ashley.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 7.01 is a public hearing with respects to amending the City Code, Chapter 11, entitled Ward Boundaries.
Thank you. I'll open this public hearing. Does anyone wish to address council? Please come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please. Hearing none, I'll close this public hearing. Okay, regular agenda. Ashley.
Item 8.01 is a resolution approving the City of Crookston's redistricting ward boundaries and establishing precincts and polling places, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So move, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Christie?
Christie, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbratton.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.02 is second and final reading of an ordinance of the City of Crookston, Minnesota, amending the City Code, Chapter 11 by changing Section 11.01 ward boundaries, Your Honor.
Okay, we already had a motion and a second on this. Is there any discussion?
How long is this good for, that? How long?
10 years.
10 years? Okay, thank you.
Further discussion?
That was what, since it went down to, from, dropped down 2, right? Is that last time anything was changed on this?
I mean,
We had more words back then and it dropped?
no,
It's the same amount of words.
there's still 6 wards and two at large.
Okay, wasn't it 8 words at one time?
Long time ago.
That wasn't 10 years ago.
No.
Okay.
And then everybody that's gonna get changed on this is gonna get a letter explaining that too.
The county, remember?
Yeah, the county will do that, Councilman. They will send it out based on our wards that we establish.
Okay.
Further discussion?
It's my understanding this is done with the census, correct? Which is why the 10-year mark, is that correct?
Correct, it's done in conjunction with the census every 10 years.
Okay.
10 years.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbretten.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.03 is a resolution to approve the CRP contract located at the Nature View Estate Plat 5, Your Honor.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
I'll
Thank you,
second it,
Clayton,
Your Honor.
second by Don. Discussion, Corky, you got something brief on this?
Just brief on this. This reporting has been typically every 3 years, but with the new rules and regulations, we need to report our CRP status each year. And it's no change from last year. We have 9.2 acres of CRP acreage at Nature's View Estates, and we need to report, yes, we still have that, but we cannot receive any funds for the CRP because we're a municipality.
So where do those funds go? Just,
They just stay with the Conservation Reserve Program.
and then how many more years we got that that's still in there?
I believe it's 3 more years, but we could check for sure. But the reporting requirement changed.
Thank you, Corky. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson, excuse me, sorry, Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbretten.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 8.04 is a resolution to authorize the contract with SEH for Crookston Airport zoning ordinance update, Your Honor.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So move, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne. Thank you. Discussion. Corky, one more time, please.
We have a proposed grant request to the state of Minnesota for $35,000. We've also budgeted and allocated 15 of our own funds. This would be a 70-30% split, state and us. If they approve the grant, then we would enter into a contract with our contractors, SEH, to propose and bring to us an ordinance reestablishing a runway at the airport, which was decommissioned some years ago.
Further discussion.
If they don't approve this, I mean, what does it change? Anything? I mean,
It does not, if the state doesn't give us the money,
Yeah.
then we would either have to fund that full 50,000 ourselves,
Okay.
or not proceed with the new ordinance. But the airport has desired to get a new runway, so we'd have to reconsider it at that time.
So,
We're fairly confident the state will give us that grant. They do have funds. I wish I could say it's a mere formality. I can't say that, but it looks very likely that we would get that funding. And the contract is conditioned on getting that funding.
Further discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbretten.
aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.05 is a resolution for authorization to execute Minnesota Department of Transportation Agency agreement for the federal airport expense reimbursement for the airport rescue grant for up to $32,000, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion, Your Honor.
Got Don and
Clayton.
Clayton. Thank you. Discussion. Corky.
You're overworking me on my first night here. This is a grant that we are going to receive from the FAA. Under Minnesota statute, every time we receive a Federal Aviation Administration grant, we have to enter into a contract with MnDOT to be the administrators of that grant. They simply receive the money, we file for reimbursement for items that we do, and they reimburse us based on the billings. It is a state statute requirement, and that's what we're asking you to do tonight.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Klatt,
Aye.
Vedbrun.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 8.06 is a resolution obligating and authorizing expenditures of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Delane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Thank you. Discussion? Corky, once more.
Okay, Chad, are you able to put that chart up? You all have it in your packet. It's called an ARPA proposal. I want you to take a look at this. It's more appropriately named Lost Revenue Recapture. I hope you all recall that you previously authorized accepting and calculation under the standard formula that Ryan has calculated, and we've already accepted the funding. What this is a proposal on how to expend those funds. I want you to understand that the lost revenue recapture is an attempt to recapture revenue that we have lost because of the pandemic, and we have been allocated under the standard formula this amount of money. There is a certain category called qualified projects. Again, it's our money, but it must be spent for those categories. In addition, there is then the unqualified projects. That is our money to spend as we choose. You will see that each of these projects is, for lack of a better term, shovel-ready. These projects are ready to go for the city. We're seeking the authorization of the council to undertake those projects. You'll see that the lift station control system improvement, and Brandon can speak to that later, has been allocated or has $312,000. It's a specific project that falls within the guidelines. We are asking the county for an additional $137,000. That's up to them, but we feel very comfortable that they will give that money for this project, and this lift station control system is a much, much needed improvement. Now, over on the undesignated fund side, we can use any of those monies for anything that we choose. And we're recommending that these projects, the infrastructure network server and security and data backup recovery, be allocated and authorized by you, and Chad will be able to speak to that in just a moment. And then some reserve management services, that's a year contract that will help us manage those. In addition, Jake will later speak to you about the park and recreations. We have some significant issues at the arena, both mechanical, the system mechanically just doesn't work right, and with the controls. The controls aren't telling our system what to do properly. So we need to fix those, and again, it's an efficiency thing. He will tell you that one of our systems is running full bore all the time, and it shouldn't be. It's costing us a lot of money on a monthly basis. And then he's going to talk to you about a multi-purpose mower and snow removal apparatus, and also then a new vehicle, because the vehicles the Park and Rec have a lot of miles and a lot of use. So, without further ado by me, I asked Ryan to give you a more in-depth overview of this.
One thing I just want to point out, it's important to keep in mind that these are not ARPA dollars that we're talking about for these things that the department heads are going to bring forward to you. When you guys did the lost revenue calculation and approved for us to do that, you know, Amy and I sat down and talked about, since the city now has these funds, we should really look at doing something to which we wouldn't have been able to do that we are able to do now that's going to have a significant impact on us. And that's when we then talked to the department heads to start putting a list together. We started this back in November. So at our department head meetings, we kept talking about, okay, what is your need? Get bids, get estimates on this. Let's bring everything together kind of as a wish list. Let's talk about these items as all of us here as department heads. And this is the list that we came up with, and we all felt that this would serve a really good purpose and be able to then take care of these needs without having to go into our reserves. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, well then I will let Chad take it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and change over to a slide. Okay, I'm going to talk for a little bit about our network infrastructure and our server infrastructure. And that is basically the beating heart of IT in the city. So across all 7 city buildings that we have, our network infrastructure connects to every single computer that we have, every single laptop that's connecting wirelessly, every single smartphone that's connecting. Okay, that system is comprised of equipment that went end of sale in 2015 and complete end of support in 2020, which means that there is no replacement equipment available for that on the open market. And I have had to go to places like eBay and look for replacement equipment. All of that equipment represents a single point of failure in our system. If we were to lose one of those switches, one of those routers, our network for that facility is completely cut off. There is no backup, off-site backup of our data. We do nightly back up the city information. However, that does not leave this building ever. And if we were to have a flood, if we were to have a tornado, if this building were to be destroyed and the equipment along with it, all of the city data would be a complete loss. We have a hard drive for all of the data within the city that is taxed. It's almost completely full. And we have some serious issues with the infrastructure as far as location goes. That includes problems with overheating, problems with insufficient battery backup for that infrastructure. There is noise. The picture that you see on screen is at the police department, and that houses all of our PD data, and that is immediately adjacent to one office and then another office on the other side of that closet door. So those are working spaces. There's dust that's an issue, and we have had water events within this building, and the majority of the infrastructure is located here at City Hall. And also, and I'm going to pass this on to Darren, he'll talk a little bit about it when he addresses his issues, but we have no controlled access to any of this equipment. That's the servers, and there are requirements from the Minnesota BCA that we have controlled access to this equipment because of the nature of the data that's present. That's what I have.
After we do all this, now, are we gonna be up to date with all of our IT stuff?
So these improvements to our network infrastructure I had planned to introduce them across the next few years, so it would have been a capital improvement expense. This is an opportunity for us to take care of those improvements in one go.
And one of the things to remember, as Chad said, is if we don't do it now, you will see it on a year-to-year basis for the next number of years, and it could very significantly impact the levy. And these are monies that we recaptured. They wouldn't otherwise be available to us. They are now.
This opportunity represents a reset to get us to equipment that will be with a life expectancy of 10 plus years. This gives IT department an opportunity to get ahead of this and then to stay current in our capital improvement from year to year so that we don't fall behind as we have.
All right, thank you.
I think Jake is prepared to speak. Well,
Did you want
Darren first,
Okay.
because it ties in with what Chad has been speaking about.
Thank you, Corky. Mayor, Council. I just have, I'm gonna read through this. It's about 5 minutes here. Won't take up too much of your time, but, like Corky showed on the last portion there, my request is for garage and security upgrades to include secure, climate-controlled server storage at the Crookston Police Department. So I know for at least, I've been with the city almost 20 years. And in that time, the garage has only had improvements or repairs performed because something failed or some things need to be replaced to prevent additional damage to the building. The most notable repair was about 8 years ago, and we sealed the garage floor, and that was mainly due to the fact that water was leaking in the basement. The main driving force behind the upgrades is to maintain compliance with state and federal regulations, like Chad kind of mentioned. So every law enforcement agency that has access to criminal justice information, or what we call CJIS data, such as the Crookston Police Department, is bound heavily and governed by regulations which are audited by the state every 3 years. This CJIS data is confidential data, so it's like criminal histories, driver's license, maybe registration checks, registration information, and it's data that can be seen, so like on a computer screen, or heard, like on a radio or by talking. Other notable regulations are monitored or escorted access into the building, secure access points like Chad mentioned, and most important is the secure storage and location of where those servers are housed. The state and federal government requires that all computer servers that have access to this CJIS data, which would include the servers that Chad spoke about, must be stored at a law enforcement agency or the Crookston Police Department. And that's why in that picture you saw Chad show the picture of the server that's currently at the Crookston Police Department. So currently we're in compliance with CJIS requirements. However, without these essential upgrades such as the IT services that Chad spoke about, it's likely in the very near future we possibly won't be in compliance, and then it would, immediately cost a significant amount of money up front to replace that over time. So the main important upgrade at the Crookston Police Department would be the secure, climate-controlled server storage that would also double as an armory. Currently, the server at the Crookston Police Department is located in the closet that you see in the picture, which doesn't have any climate control. And as we all know, servers emit immense heat, which raises the ambient air temperature, and temperatures over 70 degrees can reduce server reliability and can contribute to poor performance and server failures. Currently, our armory is located in the basement at the police department, where climate's very cool, musty, and damp. Because the ceiling is constructed concrete, a white calcium fuzz builds up on the ceiling, which flakes off and contaminates anything and everything that's stored in that area. This is obviously less than an ideal situation to store firearms, safety equipment, ammunition, anything along that lines. So the plan would be to move the server and the armory up into the garage. We have a 12x16 room that has cinder block walls and a metal security door, all of which is necessary and meets those CJIS requirements. Because we're moving the server room and armory upstairs, we would need climate control in that area. And to do that, we would upgrade the current HVAC system in the garage, which in itself is in dire need of replacement. Current system is well over 15 years old. It's a natural gas radiant heat system, similar to what you'd find in like old hockey arenas that heat the bleacher or spectator area when people watch events. It's not made to heat an area, just emit that heat. In fact, when the system was originally installed, it should have been installed down the center of the garage, but they had to move it for fear that it would melt the light racks on the squad cars. So the system was moved off center, which is very inefficient. It doesn't effectively heat the garage. And in fact, if you stand underneath that heater, the heat is so hot, you can't stand there. It feels like it's gonna burn you. And so that area of the garage is just not even usable. So the new HVAC system would provide high-efficiency heat, air conditioning, and dehumidification. It'd be a single unit with multiple heat zones, one being the server room, which would house the city's servers. The new HVAC system would also be ideal in maintaining the longevity and performance of the electronic components, medical supplies that are stored in each squad car, such as like our computers, AEDs, and we now carry medications in our squad cars for emergency calls, which are obviously susceptible to extreme temperatures. Lastly, it would be replacing some of the secure doors, windows, and wall coverings. Currently, when it gets below 0 in the garage, the walk-in doors and the garage doors freeze. They basically freeze shut. You can't enter or leave the police department. So to combat that, we have to raise the heat to almost an unacceptable level, which obviously increases utility costs. By upgrading this system with the dehumidification, it would eliminate the condensation issues and eliminate the doors from freezing, and obviously would reduce utility costs. Our current walk-in door that leads from the garage into the police department or office area, we'd upgrade that with a controlled access point to meet CJIS requirements. And then again, we'd replace some windows and some wall coverings to complement the new HVAC system to help with efficiency. So kind of like you heard, each one of these complements each other, complements Chad's project, complements a lot of stuff at the police department, and something I feel is vital to continued emergency services at the police department. So,
What's the roof like over that area? It seems like
excuse me?
everybody's- Say, what's the roof like over that area? Is that something we're gonna have to replace too, so it ain't?
Outside or inside?
Or the,
Exterior?
for the, yeah, for this here to be dry.
So the roof, you know, I was actually just looking at that, I was having difficulties finding the paperwork. So there's 2 stages to the roof. There's a roof over the garage and there's a roof over the main police department. It was replaced in 2 stages, I think 1 year after another. And they're starting to age up on probably that 15-year mark. So I mean, they have been replaced. You know, it's probably something we need to look at either maintaining or something down the road, but I feel like there's still a lot of life to the external roof on the police department.
I just don't wanna go through all this work.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden now we gotta put a roof on.
I agree, yep. So that right now is in good shape. We haven't had any issues with it, and like I said, it's about 15 years old probably.
But the condensation that you're talking about is not from a leaky roof, it's from,
Correct. So basically, right, like your cars go outside, say it's 10, 20 below, or just at 0, that vehicle becomes 10, 20 below, like the ambient air. You drive it in a heated garage, you know, that builds that condensation. That's where things start to freeze and so on and so forth. The windows right now, they're small garage windows that are encased with like those glass blocks that literally have no R value to them at all. So part of that again would be removing the glass blocks and then just putting in high efficiency windows in that void to help with efficiency.
Are you gonna be looking for a building replacement in the next
Well,
so many years?
we've probably bought that building about 3 times, Wayne, so right now, it's, yes, I mean, I'd love a new police department. I wish I could pitch a new police department versus repairs, but, you know, we have outgrown the police department. One thing that's helped, you know, we've gone to digital storage, which has saved a lot, and not that we wanted them to leave by any means, but State Patrol, when they added on to the state shop out on Fairfax, state requirement is when they build a new state shop or add an addition, State Patrol has to be housed at that location. So for forever, basically, they used our police department as their facility also. So that kind of cut down on 5 or 6 additional officers using that space, and we gained an office area, which was well needed. But yeah, we outgrew that police department years ago. But it's still a good location, you know, right in the center of town. It's a nice location to respond from. You know, we've been able to do subtle upgrades every year to kind of help out, but yeah, it's working.
All right, thanks, Darren.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, he's going to speak to us about the things for the Park and Rec Department. And again, I want you all to understand that it's been since late October, early November, that these department heads have been working on this plan. And we just met this morning, and we all concurred that this would be a unanimous recommendation to you to consider these items.
so one question before he starts, these numbers that are represented on the sheet, are they from actual bids, or are these just estimates? For like all departments?
Actual bids.
Okay.
And we have attempted in the figures you see to use the highest one that we got. So there may be some lesser amounts that actually come through, but we tried to be very conservative in picking the higher numbers so that we would be on the high end if we had to be.
Okay.
Thank you, Corky.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
Council. As you all know, Corky has kind of explained a little bit. We currently have a control system and an HVAC system out at the CSC Sports Center. They're supposed to intertwine, interact with each other. The control system is kind of the brain of the operation. It's supposed to tell that system, HVAC system, when to open a pump or heat pump, how much air to push out to certain areas. You can locate different areas of heat throughout the whole facility. Back in roughly the spring of '21, the process started of updating the controls. So they went to a new, excuse me, a new control made out of Honeywell by a company out of the cities called Minnesota Control Solutions. The issue is ever since those controls got put in, they haven't been working with our HVAC system we currently have in the facility. All the updates have been modified to the bone with this company that came out a couple times this year, and it's just not working. So right now, we currently have everything in our compressor room where all our pumps are running at 100%. We cannot control them. So everything is wide open. They have been all season. And it's starting to get, some issues are occurring. So, like I said, it's running at 100%. So if an updated, I've talked to a couple different companies now. The first thing they need to find out is why the controls aren't working. They want to start there and get a plan down to figure out how it can work with the HVAC system, whether it needs to be updated, a new complete system, if the HVAC system needs to be added to in any way, shape, or form. So that's where we're at with that.
So who first installed that system?
Who first installed that system? My recollection, that was installed by a company out of Grand Forks by McFarland. And then Minnesota Control Solutions were on board too back in 2000, that era when the.
So those folks they can't figure out what's wrong with it, or?
The new system that got put in is not coordinating with our HVAC system that's in there now. So the proposal
Is it a service failure on their part, or is it just, what is it, why can't they fix it?
Why can't they fix it?
I mean, is it the company or is it our equipment?
Well, the control system that I'm talking to says it's the HVAC system, and then the HVAC company that I'm talking to says it's the control system. So I'm going back and forth with them, trying to figure out a solution. So we need to start somewhere, figure out the problem, and then work from it, is what I was told. So I came in, what's that?
Did we pay somebody to put the system in there? And it's not working? I mean,
A long time ago.
well, you were just saying 21 here.
Yes,
A bit ago.
that was the same company that came in originally.
Yeah.
They came in and modified and brought in new control systems and redid some wiring, and since then, it's been
Not working.
not working.
So, Jake, the new control system, the original one that was in there had to be replaced, correct?
Correct, to an updated system, or controls.
So, basically, the original one is obsolete. They don't have that type anymore.
To my recollection, yes, Mayor.
Okay.
I
So,
guess, what's to say now that this new company that comes in and their idea is gonna work? Because if this last idea didn't work, what's gonna make this new one work?
it's a different company.
And one of the things that this does is it gets to a system that is coordinated. That's the idea. Before you had two separate systems not talking the same language, I'm trying to simplify it. Now you get them working together. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, what he's saying, aren't they held to some kind of standard? They put this in 21, shouldn't they said it was gonna work and it's not working, shouldn't they be
Making it work?
making it work? I mean, we paid to have it put in.
Right.
And it's not working. It's not that long ago. So.
Spring of '21, so.
Yeah, so I mean, they they should be held to some kind of standard there to either come up with something or, you know, I don't know, I mean, I guess I don't know how long they have before like a warranty runs out, but that doesn't seem right to me, I guess. So, I mean, I know you've been going back and forth with them or whatever, but there should be a little bit more of a foot down saying, no, you just put this in, said it was gonna work, and now it's not, what are you gonna do?
Okay.
You know
Well,
what I'm
let's
saying?
pretend this had happened to my house or your house. Would you say, hey, well, I'm just gonna get a whole new system, I just stuck in all this money in this system, now I'm not? So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, I mean,
One of the things that this proposal does is it allows exploring what you've just asked about, and then coordinating, whether it's that present provider or another provider, to make this thing work. And if it turns out that it doesn't work, what you're suggesting is, okay, maybe we don't spend all this money because they have to come forward, make it work.
Right.
This is the worst-case alternative for us, and it would provide a system that is in fact coordinated.
I don't mind seeing this here in there, but I wouldn't wanna let this other company off the hook yet.
No,
To me, they
absolutely
need
not.
to figure this out.
Well, that's
We pay them to
certainly
figure it
something
out.
we can explore
so
that.
somebody help me with the timeline, so this arena was built in
It opened in 2012.
2012, and there was a system put in place.
10, I think, wasn't it?
So by today's standard, a 2012 system that was put in place would still be relatively new, I would just think.
Well, the technology, after 10 years, starts to slide,
Okay, I get it.
so.
So then, so with the initial system that was put in, we've already replaced that system, is that correct, or this?
It was an upgraded to a new set of controls, is my
In
understanding.
2021.
Spring of 2021, yep.
And since they did whatever they did with the upgrade, it's not working.
Not correctly, nope.
Has that worked,
Okay.
has it not worked since they did it? Or did it work?
Since
for-
they've done the update,
Yeah.
that's when stuff started falling downhill. And,
Right from the get-go?
yeah, not right from the get-go.
You know, in my experience, when you're working with 2 or 3 different companies that are putting the project together and whatnot, you do come up with this. But what I found, what I've had to do sometimes is get everybody to represent, sit at the table, and let's pick this apart. Who can tell us what's wrong and how can we get it fixed? And then spread the wealth amongst everybody for their part of taking care of it. So I mean, if that's what you do or that's what you plan to do, that's up to you, I guess. What you're trying to get here is so that we can go ahead and worst-case scenario is change everything so that we get it working, but with, at the same time, exploring to try and get this thing set up with, because I agree with you 100% that
Yeah.
a year's time on equipment like this, that's
Can't totally
unacceptable.
let them off the hook is
Yeah,
So this
basically what we're saying.
this would allow us to proceed down whatever avenue is appropriate, and if the worst-case scenario is we can't get that done that way, this would allow us to get the system in that would work.
Just one question, do we have a number available for the amount of money we stuck in it in 2021 to do this?
I do not have that, no, I do not.
Can we get
But I
that?
can get it for you, yep, I can definitely go find it, yep.
Nice to have.
Are there any guarantees that we can put in that as far as making sure that, you know, if something goes wrong, that they come in and fix? If it doesn't work, for the amount of time it's supposed to work?
Or is there a warranty?
Well, they should come with a warranty. And
We can
They
check
should- We could check
all
into
the
it.
warranties.
Check into them,
Maybe
yep.
maybe not a warranty if they don't offer it, but maybe some type of a service agreement, so that says, hey,
Yeah.
you guys have put the system in, come out and fix it, and then don't throw your hands up and walk away, say, I don't know. It's the plumber.
At the end of the day, can I just clarify, so say you go back to both groups or whatever, and you figure it out, and maybe it's just the controls. What we're voting on here is that if it is needed, then this funding can
Correct.
go through.
Correct.
But maybe it's just the temperature piece, right? Maybe it's the HVAC and not the controls, then those funds can be utilized at a later date for maybe another project that would be more acceptable.
They can be transferred back or reserved back. This would just be the worst-case scenario. Let's say you got 76,000 here and you only use 20. Those excess funds can be reserved for us, yes.
I'm okay with this and I feel comfortable with this, but I would also like Jake you to come back and let us know, like, an update as to what you found
Okay.
going forward. Before making any purchases.
Update on the controls of what I found?
Well, yeah, what you found, if it's, 'cause it sounds like there's a lot of finger pointing, that it's one problem and not the other problem and vice
And I'm in the
versa.
middle of it trying to figure
Right,
out, yep.
right, but just having us have a better idea before you go
Okay.
forward with anything.
Okay, regarding the multi-purpose machine,
Yep, so Chad, you wanna throw up those pictures that I sent? We currently have 8 mowers. 4 of them are, I'm sorry, we currently have 9 mowers, that cut grass and 8 of them that blow snow. So 3 out of the 8 units, the life expectancy, is pretty close to an end. And then we got 1 that is over its life expectancy. I did Google and did some research on these John Deere mowers. They say a life expectancy is 10 years. You can get your max out of them, or 4,500 to 5,000 hours. So I just kind of did some numbers here. I did also read online too. You take, in order to get like your approximate mileage for these machines, you take your hours times 60. So you can see on there, there's about 4 of them I said that, like our P45, our 1445, it's a 2008, it has 6,193 hours, so that's approximately 371,850 miles on it. It's getting pretty worn out. We use these machines as well yearly, so we blow snow with them, we go cut grass with them, so they're getting used and abused a lot. So I'm just asking if with this funding, if we could get it's called a Ventrac system, and it's a newer model, and they're made for, it's a multi-purpose. You can use it, there's 30 different attachments, it's an all-wheel drive, it's a good slope mower, it's a good for blowing snow. You can blow up to 40 feet, so with some of the snow that we have around town, especially on the outer edges, we do get a lot of blowing and compact snow, so these mowers or slash blowers or utility would be a great fit for what we do.
I'm sorry, one question that I have is I'm looking at some of the asks here, and a lot of them are infrastructure requests, which I think our city is in need of, and I'm just wondering about like the ask for the snow machine and the new pickup. Is that possibly something that could be, what I'm asking is, isn't there an infrastructure need possibly somewhere that we could use that money? So for example, I think we had an issue with the library roof earlier that we had some conversation about. Is that something that would fit into this qualification, into this area?
Yes, this money can be used for anything within the council's discretion. Yes, it could be used.
I'm just wondering, and I'm just asking the question, I mean, should we be possibly looking at infrastructure rather than, or fixed assets rather than?
I think Ryan can address that. And just so you understand, a number of alternatives were considered over the last 5 months, and these rose to be the priorities.
Okay.
Yeah. What happens with that lost revenue calculation is those dollars do go into the general reserve. By, getting that large dollar amount for the city at one time like that, that's why we thought, okay, department heads, look at what your wish list is. Let's put this together because we have a shot here now to be able to do some things that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So I think that Jake kind of followed with what I said was put your wish list together and let's talk about your needs and what's going to best fit. And, that's why you'll see a couple of those items on there. But what dollars do not get spent, that you guys don't want spent on this list then, would go back in, or would go into reserve. But since these dollars were in 21, we have to do the reserve entries before we close 21 out.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not needed, and we probably need to get them at some point in time. I'm just asking about more infrastructure needs that possibly we can do with this money rather than.
Well, I think too, you know, as far as, the roof problem at the library, I think we kinda talked about that maybe coming out of building and grounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it can be reserved, and just so you understand the process that this went through, it's like water filtering down through sand. These were all filtered down through the department heads, trying to get the top priorities to you to consider now because we have the money.
Yep.
Good point that you made, but even with that, this is filtered down over 5 months, and they put in a lot of time and effort and work.
And I appreciate that, like, I just.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, I did visit with Jake quite a bit on his list here, and, you know, the mower, we talked about that quite a bit. You know, he's got a map to show you in how the years have progressed. The Park and Recs Department have taken on a lot more lawn to care for and what they have to do and stuff, and that was one of the reasons why he had talked about, well, we really could use another mower with all that we have to take care of now, and then plus for all snow removal stuff.
Especially the side mowing. This is a really good machine for that. The ones we have now are not really that kind of machine.
Well, that one should be that we just bought.
Right, that one, but there's a lot of property that's come into us mowing
Well, I don't,
over time.
you know, I think that's something that we should look at too, is a lot of, like, the snow blowing. Some of these, all these walking paths that we make, do we really need to blow all them open every time? You know, is there some that?
Yeah.
You're
in the
gonna,
wintertime?
you're gonna hear that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, full strategy.
How do I say it?
Yeah.
Anybody
Sure,
going
that
to
shouldn't go out there.
CYBA this weekend? I gotta walk how far? You know?
Kind of like the mowing, everybody's, I've had several complaints about the city property that's not getting mowed proper time, and we're trying to charge people for their lawns not being, and I'm all with them if we can get something that's gonna cut the time down and be better use. And of course, the machines are getting older, you have one or two that break down, now you're behind, and I tell you, when the grass is growing, it needs to be mowed twice a week, we'd be in big trouble. And last year may not have been that summer that, you know, was pretty dry, but on most years, you gotta have the right equipment, I totally agree with you.
Is that part of the issue though, that if we have, we run these vehicles into the ground, in my opinion, we have no trade-in value. It's something that it needs to be looked at more, time period, you know, for, say, every 4 years or 5 years.
And that's
But
why
most of
with
the stuff
your
is run into the ground.
CIPs that we have for like Park and Rec, we're trying to now put that into their plan so that in 5 years, we're not coming to you and saying, hey, we need 60,000 for a new mower. We are trying to put in so much every year so that we have the funds there for those items.
That's kind of why I've been an advocate of leasing. I mean, you're always getting a new vehicle to drive, and you give up your lease and get another one. You know, I think there's a lot of cities that do a lot of leasing, and they always got new equipment to drive. Now, not mowers so much probably, but vehicles and.
Well, there's more leases out there.
Yeah.
University has done it, but I mean, you know, leases right now with the percentage wise, it's getting to be a tough gig over to buy or to lease because.
Yeah, at least you own it.
You gotta remember though, over the past few years though, with the fleet of mowers we've had, and every time it came down to budget time, who got the short end of the stick every year was Park and Rec.
The easiest job was the mower.
So,
It's our own
And water
demise, and we said
skis.
it's gonna come back, so you can't blame Jake.
okay, let's move on here.
Okay, I'll let Jake talk now about the maps that are up now for the additional mowing and all of what the street department has, or not street department, Park and Rec has to mow.
Thank you, Ryan. Just currently this winter, I just made a map, so everything in yellow you see is everything that we blow throughout the whole entire winter. As you go down, We go all the way out a little past the train tracks, the UMC, all the way down here to Fairfax, by there's and Shanty and everything in between. So it's a lot of different mowing, or blowing, snow blowing. Chad, wanna go to the mowing map, please? You guys can see the highlighted stuff, but everything highlighted in purple, there's red highlighted, that's everything. Oh, can't see that. Everything, I was talking to Scott, I went up this fall when I first started this position, and I was curious to how much we know, and Scott told me we mow around 400 acres throughout the summer. And with the new mower, they're good for slope mowers, they're good for like the ditches that we gotta mow, the dikes. So we mow a lot, we're on these things a lot, we run them hard. So I just wanted to show you guys that.
Good information.
Anything else? You guys want the pickups or?
No,
Okay.
we'll move on. I don't know, Brandon, you want to update with the wastewater you have in the past? Kind of budgeted, but.
You already have a resolution on that? That's already approved.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
I wasn't gonna present, but.
Okay, that's fine, it's fine. Okay. Further discussion.
Okay, let's move on.
Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Krassel,
Aye.
Clack,
Aye.
Van Broughton.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
On behalf of all involved, thank you very much. This is very important, and it now allows us, it's obligated, now we can proceed, and these are shovel-ready, if you will, projects.
But I'd still like to see that arena one get looked into.
Right.
The department heads will give you updates every council meeting on where these projects are progressing, where they're sitting at.
Item 8.07 is a resolution to approve the Crookston Sports Center concession and advertising lease with the Blue Line Club, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have a motion to
So
approve
moved.
this resolution.
So moved.
Got a motion by Don, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Joe, baby.
Discussion, should we start with Jake?
I sat down with Corky a couple weeks ago. We went over this, this concession and advertisement leasing agreement. Honestly, there's not a lot of change, in Corky, if you want to interject here, but since 2009. We looked at a copy from 2009, and then the last copy we could find was from 2014. Not a lot has changed in it. The only couple things that I could, point out would be,
I can tell you that initially, there was a payment to the city based on
Yep.
a percentage of the concession sold. This particular lease eliminates that, but in exchange, the Blue Line Club agrees to pay all entry fees for all of our teams in any tournaments that they go to. And we have probably 12 to 14 for sure tournaments a year, including our home tournaments. They agree to work those tournaments. It gives us more certainty from a city's point of view. If we had the percentage, we'd always have to be checking on what was sold, evaluating, is it net profit, is it gross profit? And Jake was very instrumental in talking to the Blue Line Club about that. We still do have the sign rental, a 50-50 split on sign rentals, and even I can go out and count the number of signs and do the multiplication, so that's much more easily validated. So I think, and the Blue Line Club, and Jake did a lot of the negotiation with them. I think they're very agreeable to this as well. There's more certainty on both parts.
So, a question that I've had this for a lot of years, that when there's non-hockey events going on at the arena, that concession is typically closed. So and then if there is food or stuff being sold, it's being sold off out of that area.
Kiosks or tables or whatever, yes.
So I mean, could it be looked at in the future that maybe, since we're leasing this area to the Blue Line Club, that maybe they could have an opportunity to sell concessions at these events and boost their concession sales?
That's in there. They can.
That's it, yeah.
But
They
do
can do that. That's their decision.
Okay,
And in fact, the other vendors who are there are only able to be there, if I remember correctly, if the Blue Line says, we're not interested in that.
Yep. So a sponsor between the months of September and May, a sponsor wants to come in there and sell food, Blue Line Club has to allow that.
in the concession area?
No.
In the
Using
building.
concession area.
What?
They'd have to allow, Blue Line would say, you can use our concession area.
They can.
If the Blue Line Club says yes.
Allows it.
Because it's their equipment that's in there, isn't it?
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
But that's anywhere in the building. Anybody who wants to come in and sell food anywhere in that building
As
has to
long-
be okayed by the
By the
board.
Blue Line Club.
But if, okay,
Through the months of September and May, through the months of June and August, they could come to the city or myself and ask, hey, we want to, we're having this, or we want to sell this at your event. So it's pretty much the months that the Blue Line Club, when we have ice in the facility. The months that we don't, it's different.
Yeah, June, July, and August, if there was a show. That vendor would come to Jake and the city and ask, can we sell?
Or
Yes.
if there was a band, or if there
Yep.
was a
Yes.
something
Yep,
along that
exactly.
lines, it's-
Yep.
During the typical
Yep.
hockey season, skating season, Blue Line Club has to give its okay.
But it has to be somebody that's licensed, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it can't just be,
Can't just me and you go and say, we're gonna sell
Right.
Tootsie Rolls.
yeah,
Same-
well,
Same as
they
like
wouldn't
food
buy that
wagons or
stuff.
anything else, they have to be licensed.
Yep, yep.
So, I thought the understanding is that a vendor could come in with a food truck, but they couldn't use the concession because it was Blue Line equipment.
Excuse me? Sorry, Mayor.
Yeah.
So during the off-season, if there's an event going on, a vendor would have to bring in a food truck. They could not use the concession stand.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
Further discussion?
Is there something in there, like say, if they wanted to work out a deal with the Blue Line Club to use their thing in the off-season, can they do that? If the Blue Line wanted to let them use their equipment?
Know somebody
I believe they've
speaking
done that
somebody,
with
so-
the figure skaters, because they're not really at one time. But then they have to pay them for the equipment
Right.
and man the thing, do the inventory, buy their inventory from them. It was really a lot of work at that time, because the Blue Line owns all the candy and the,
Right.
everything in there, so you'd have to
All pop,
inventory everything and then
Yep.
pay them back for that and hope you made some money on it. It's
And the
tough,
Blue
but-
Line Club doesn't have the right to sublease either, they have to get our approval to do that.
Yeah.
Right, but
underage.
subleasing or letting them use it is,
Yeah.
that's a deal they can make, I guess.
That's correct.
Yeah,
It would be subject to the city's approval.
Right.
yeah,
But why wouldn't the city if they could work it out?
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jake.
Jake. Okay,
Further discussion?
very good.
Hearing none, can I roll call, please?
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
I,
Vedbrotten.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, it brings us to reports and staff. Corky, would you like to?
Would I like to? Sure. It's been interesting 5 days. Bringing myself up to just the way these procedures go. I want to make sure you all get the information you need. I did do one consultation with Jeremy Olson about Washington School, the childcare, when it might be open, and he tells, there he is, he tells me they hope the first week in April it'll finally get to be open. And there may be plans more in the future if the school carries out its idea of maybe more space will be available at Washington School. The staff, the department heads have been very, very helpful to me this 5 days and even before when I was in those meetings. We have a really good staff, very able to communicate with each other. And I gotta say, I was really impressed with the ability of them all to work together. So there'll be more next time, but that's it for today.
Thanks, Corky. Darren, anything else to add?
Just one comment. I think last meeting, everything kind of just revolving around hiring right now. We made one offer last week, probably make the final offer with that candidate tomorrow or Wednesday, and hopefully another contingent offer this week, and then we can get a couple boots on the ground. And the vacancy for Paul, we're backgrounding, excuse me, backgrounding a couple for that. So hopefully in the next week and a half or so, we'll have at least 2 on staff with maybe some start dates, so. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Tim, anything?
Just a couple real quick things, Your Honor. Obviously, the river event, or high water event, was not an event, so we were really lucky about that. There is still some ice on the river. That should either, if it doesn't break up, it's probably going to sink, but we got some cold weather coming, and listening to the National Weather Service, their predictions were fluctuating so bad because they didn't realize how the ground was going to thaw out and absorb as much of the moisture as it did. Want to thank the department heads. We had our Emergency Operations Center training last week, and some good questions came out of it, and we'll do some more training down the road here. I'm very confident that they will be really good at it and learn quickly, and it should be just fine. Luckily, we didn't have to do anything this year. And then also want to thank the citizens and our leadership here with the city that attended our CERT training. That was really good. It was just kind of a get everybody up to speed on what the program really is all about, and the need for that program, and to have good people in our community to help us out. So thank you.
Thank you. Brian, anything else?
Last Friday was payday. I finished the reports and things that needed to be done as far as getting it into our encode system and paid. It also marks the end of the quarter, so our first quarter is done, and we'll need to report all of our quarterly taxes and such with that, and Kathy and I will assure that we get that done. Brady Martz is coming tomorrow, and we'll be starting to put together what we need to do the full review with them in April. Van Warden will be doing our GASB 75 report also. That is due before that audit time, but busy going through and making sure that we have all the reserve entries done that we need to do, because we will be closing the year of 21 on the 31st. Once everybody logs off, we'll be doing it then. That's all I got.
Thank you. Chad, anything?
Happy to report that we are about 95% complete with our Microsoft Office 365 conversion. I think I've touched about every computer and smartphone in the city at this point. The conversion went very, very well. We met as a web redesign team for our second meeting last week. We have a deadline coming up where we will approve what they call the mood board with Civic Plus. And we are taking a look at some additional photography that'll make up imagery on our site. And our active.net conversion is almost complete as well. We'll begin running some test transactions with that, and we're getting very close to go live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon.
So like Tim said, the flood was, high water was obviously a non-event. We set pumps to 20 feet. I think Dave had to run just a couple times, but I guess if we set up pumps every year and we don't have to use them, I'll be happy, so. Downtown had some water issues when it thawed out quick on us. I was out of town on vacation, so thanks for Dave stepping up and handling all that. We had a storm sewer that was frozen solid from on 4th, and it runs all the way over to North Ash and then kind of loops around, so they struggled trying to get that thawed out. So we're gonna give that storm a good look when everything thaws out here and there's not water and ice and everything, and try and figure out if it was just full of debris or if we have a negative grade issue there. We're just gonna, that area, that Advanced Tire Corner has been a problem a few years, so I have a feeling it's more than just a full of debris issue, but we'll figure it out once we get there. They started sweeping streets today. We'll see how long the weather allows us. We might have to take a couple days off if we get a decent amount of snow that sticks around, but they're gonna, I think Dave said they were starting in the Carmen Edition today, so they're gonna try and get all the sand from this winter picked up, so it's safe for the motorcyclers to ride around. I took a shot and I put a solar light on the north sign because that light wire was broken. It didn't work out. It's not very bright. It's not bright enough. So I'm aware of it, and we're just probably gonna have to replace the wire and put a grid light on the sign. Me and the wastewater guys met with the Polk County Jail. They're, I'm sure Wayne, you're aware of this. Those inmates are flushing down pretty much anything that'll go down that toilet, and then it ends up backing up Ampride and basically everybody from Tomford's back to the beet plant. So we met with Andy and their maintenance guys, and they're on board. We're gonna try and get a grinder in the budget for 23. So typical arrangements with jails and municipalities is the jail would install the grinder, and then after that we would maintain and operate it. So we're looking at fixing that issue, and that's all we got for now.
Thanks, Brandon. Greg, anything? Thank you. Anything else, Jake?
Yeah, just one more thing, sir. Like Chad said, we had our last meeting couple weeks ago now with ActiveNet. We're in the go live stage, so we are gonna be trying to, if we can get the credit cards to work and stuff like that tomorrow or Wednesday, we feel live, we're gonna go live Friday, April 1st, so. And then we're gonna get some word out to the schools. Our plan is to just make a little flyer to put in backpacks with just all our activities that we're gonna have, and then some informational stuff about our new software program, what website, how to register, stuff like that. So that's our plan.
Jake, can I ask a question? With this new system, is this gonna also be able to like track like the usage for the pool and things like that? So we'll have some like historical data of, you know, how those things are being utilized year after year?
Yes, eventually, yes. We have to get some, Chad, correct me wrong, we probably have to get some new software in the pool to do that, but the system can do that stuff, so, yep.
How's your hiring process going as far as summer work and all that stuff has been going?
Well, I asked Andrea last week, I saw if we're ahead of the game compared to what we used to be, and she said we are, so, it seems like it's going slow, but we do we're filling up in some spots, you know, like Club Kid. We have 5 or 6 applicants, a lot from last year that are coming back. We're still looking we need a 12U coach, a junior Legion coach, and 10U. I think we might have 2 10U teams this year. I was putting numbers together today. You know, if a majority of those kids come out and play like they did last year, that move up to 9-year-olds, we'll have about 16 kids in that group. And then with the remaining 10-year-olds, we should have around 26 kids just in that 10U group. So coaches are very, very well needed, and also umpires. So keep applying. If you have questions, just call us, and I can answer anything. So thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Robert, anything?
I'd like to report that I saw the street sweeper this morning. It scared me. I thought it was a Zamboni, but it wasn't. There's been some discussions, there are preliminary discussions going on about a new mural that's going downtown. Trey Everett and Carol Simmons are having those conversations. They're talking to some funding folks. We met a few weeks ago, and as that develops, we'll keep you informed. I think we all know that Aspen Chiropractic, that old Aspen Chiropractic office is available. It's empty now. I've talked with Mr. Theed a couple times on the phone. I met with him, I toured the office and spoke with him, and we'll see how we can help him try to get somebody in there. We had a small group of us through the planning and coordination with the Veeden Economic Development Center, University of Minnesota Crookston, had a Zoom meeting with Rethos, which is a strategic planning and downtown redevelopment organization. It was a great introductory meeting. That's as far as that meeting went, but I think it'd be something we'll be following up with later, sooner rather than later. And you'll be happy to know that we're still moving forward on the disposal of the coffee shop property, and things are starting to look a little more positive. We'll know in a couple of weeks what the final answer is going to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Yep, no problem, Brandon.
I should mention one of our final, if you have any corridor questions for the downtown project, I'm the point of contact now. This week is the last meeting for the community review panel. So there's a group of 20 of us that have been meeting. I think this is the 5th meeting. So after this meeting, we'll have our public meeting at council in April, I believe. The timeline didn't have a date on it yet. When I know which meeting it's gonna be, I'll let you know. But if you guys I sent out an email, but I know we've all been having some issues with emails. So if you have a corridor question on this corridor study, just let me know and I can track down an answer for you.
Thanks, Brandon. See, we got Gary here from the county. Have anything tonight?
Well, commissioners are in the process of evaluating requests or proposals.
Gary, could you come to the podium, please?
Why not?
He was waking up.
Commissioners are in the process of evaluating requests that have come in for the ARP funding. And I know Amy and I had some conversations earlier, and I think there were some proposals. I see there's one ready to go on solid waste. So I would encourage to get those in as soon as possible. There is and there isn't some urgency. I mean, you hate to sit with the $6 million for the 3 years till you wait to see everything that gets in. So that certainly isn't our plan. We'd like to have a phase for 2022, 23, 24, and give cities an opportunity to go through the process like you've been going through here. You just can't, come up with something in 2 weeks. You need to visit with folks, department heads, and find out what your priorities are, and then get that together, and then get the approval of all the council members. But I encourage you to do that. I've talked a little bit to a couple of commissioners about something that I know the city's been trying to solve or make a priority for a long time, and that is daycare. A lot of the businesses in town continue to, I'm sure, communicate that need to you as well as residents, is that there is certainly a shortage. There is an opportunity with the Washington School. We could possibly, I've been doing some research or some possibility that some of this money that we've got for ARP funds could go to remodel the Washington School, or certainly be a part of that. And I think that's always been a priority, but financing has always been the big question. You know, where's it gonna be, who pays for it, and that type of thing. But I think there's an opportunity here, if a few people would like to work on that and submit that. But I'd encourage that to at least, if there are any preliminary requests, to at least get those to our county administrator, Chuck Whiting, so that it gets on the list. We already have, I think, over $7 million of requests for $6 million. And what we'd like to do is at least issue on some of those, certainly ones that have shovel-ready projects ready to go for 2022, so certainly encourage that. And the lawnmower thing, I think, has been something that we've talked about for years. Wayne's talked about it being cut. Just a reminder, and I'm sure you all do, is that for 20 years we collected money for the flood program. And most of your mowing, as you see by your map, is on those dikes. And some of that money that is in that fund certainly could be used to upgrade and maybe increase the number of lawnmowers that you got. So just another idea, not necessarily that you have to change your funding here, but you may have another source too, to maybe even make work a little bit easier for the crew that's out there mowing 24 hours a day practically.
Thanks, Gary. We'll start with Christie, anything?
Well, I've just recently come back from Baltimore, and it was a lot warmer there. So I attended the CERT training, and I'm meeting with my ward rep sometime, I believe, this week, and we're actually going to set up the command center as it would be as kind of a test run with the volunteers in our area. So we're just looking at a date. It could be tomorrow, or it could be next week. More likely, it's probably be tomorrow. So, but yeah, we just want to kind of set it up and make sure that we have everything that's relevant in case of an emergency. So that's pretty much all I have to share.
Thank you. Clayton?
I'd just like to thank the city crew for getting the corner manhole covers or storm sewer covers uniced and opened. Nice to see one day a lake pretty much around some of the roads, and then the next day they were all gone. So thank the guys and staff for doing a good job getting that cleaned up. It really helped out.
Thanks, Clayton. Tom, anything?
Not nothing tonight, John.
Thank you. Dwayne?
No, I just want to thank the department heads and Corky. I mean, this is our first meeting now without a city administrator, and I think we did a great job. So thanks to everybody that had a part in that, and it's much appreciated. Meeting went smooth.
Thank you. Joe?
I just want to give a big shout out to the Crookston School District and UMC for the great basketball tournament that they all hosted this weekend, CYBA. It was a huge success. Me and my wife worked a concession stand for a few hours and seen the great numbers out there, and I've talked to quite a few businesses around town that the restaurants were packed. People are like, we had to wait like 45 minutes, so that's a good problem to have, than have them empty. It brought a lot of money to our town, and it's a great thing, and hopefully it can keep growing like it used to be and get back to over 100 teams. I think, Jeremy, there's about 80 teams is from what I heard. Is that right?
I talked to Greg about that.
Okay, I had heard around 79, 80 teams, somewhere in there, but, you know, we worked from 7 to 10 in the morning, and just to see the number of people that were out at that time was incredible. And that was at the high school, and I guess CSC was even busier and stuff at that time, and they did a great job. So I just want to thank everybody involved, and it's a great thing for Crookston. That's it.
All right, thanks, Joe. Don, anything?
Yes, I have a couple things. The Crookston Chamber of Commerce has updated their board and with new people, and they've been busy with their ambassadors visits, one per month, visiting different businesses, new businesses, old businesses, and that kind of stuff. And then their leader, Mark, attended the Midwest Summit in Fargo with over 600 people in attendance to study city problems and so forth in the region. So that's kind of interesting. And then the Polk County Planning Commission, who I represent the city as on their board, they have been busy with 2 to 5 public hearings per meeting for use permits and the conditional interim permits for different areas in Polk County. So, and that's a very interesting program that they have for approving people on lakes and streams and that kind of stuff. Asphalt, they were looking at a new asphalt plant over by Gently, wasn't it, Christie? Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, that's kind of an interesting group of people there, and it's kind of fun to listen to them and to vote on different kinds of activities. So that's my report.
Thank you. I have a couple things. On behalf of Christie, I attended the park. Wayne?
I was waiting.
Sorry.
I'm patient, dear. I just had a couple of things that with the search that we're doing for the city administration, if the process is continuing, obviously, thank you, Corky, for filling in. You did a nice job, as Delane said, too. When the next meeting is or anything like that, that we need to get together, if there's some videos or stuff that we're gonna get, or however it is, if, I don't know if I got that list or if I misplaced it, but I would appreciate that.
I think Liz sent something.
So the meeting's
Liz
gonna be
sent
next
something.
week,
Next
yeah.
week.
So, but we just don't have a time yet.
Okay.
So next Tuesday is gonna be the
But-
meeting.
The 5th.
I'll let Wayne finish. I had a question on that too, so.
Okay.
Okay, and then, just as you talked about the stuff in the storm sewers, you know, the leaves and that, maybe it's time to look into buying a leaf vac for the city to go around and suck the leaves off of the boulevards. Everybody'd be happy. That's all I got.
Thanks. Apologize I missed you. It's Monday. We'll start though, before I jump in, my understanding, I thought Liza was gonna have the pool of candidates with their profile and stuff.
Today, the 28th of March, she is doing their profiling and their interviews with her, video interviews. My understanding is that when that's completed, then she will let us know, give us information. And as Ashley said, we're planning on a meeting on April 5th, Tuesday. I have been in communication with her to find out the time that she wants to set it.
So, but my question is I know we're looking at possible 5
Oh,
candidates.
the number? Yes, there were 6 candidates who applied. 5 were moved forward. 1 did not meet the minimal qualification, the minimum. And so those 5 interviews will be conducted video by her, gathering background information, criminal background checks, and then that information will be conveyed to each of you. And then we'll have that meeting on the 5th to decide which, if any, of the candidates move forward to.
But my question is, are we gonna get these profiles of these candidates sooner than later?
Yes, because I believe there is a memo that went out. Plan on 25 to 35 minutes per candidate for your review.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
But is that before the 5th now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
because
I'm hoping-
Liz sent something out to all of
yeah.
us.
Yes.
So I'm hoping Liza gets that out
I
soon.
will be contacting her first thing tomorrow before we have the department head meetings. And I've already, believe it or not, I messengered her, and she has not responded yet. So last Friday I did that, saying, what time do you want the meeting? And I have not heard back yet.
And reminder too, next Monday, we have that special meeting as well.
Yep, 5:30 next Monday.
For
We
your
got
training.
League of Minnesota training.
Okay.
And that's at City Hall here.
City Hall here, correct. Yep.
Also, on Chris's behalf, I attended the park board meeting. Correct me if I miss a few things, Jake, please. I know Musco with the new lighting, everything is on go. They're looking at probably 60 new bulbs. They're gonna clean the lamps. The lighting will be upgraded back to roughly 90%. It's probably around 50 right now or less. I think Scott Butt was out there, or soon was gonna move snow around the post to make it easier for Musco to get at these lightings. Baseball Association, I think, where the concession stand is up there, they're gonna make that into a unisex restroom. Right below the backside of the dugout, I think, there.
Yep.
Somewhere, and
Correct.
also, you're looking at more traveling for the older girls, 12U and 14U, is that correct?
New league, it's
New
the,
league.
it's gonna be up in, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Badger, Middleton area. There's, those teams, or they're an association, Thief River Falls and Red Lake Falls, and then it'll be us. So roughly there'll be 4 to 6 teams, depending on how many teams we provide and, you know, the other communities provide. I talked with Sunny Bowman from the high school. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and she made a strong request to put our 14s and our 12s into this group, or this league. A little bit more competitive, it's more fun. You're gonna get kind of more out of the league. So I figured, I told her we'd give her a try and see how we do with our 14s and 12s, and we'll go from there this year, so.
Right. My understanding, I hear this is kind of brand new, and what it does is, I hear there, we've got some, parents that'll take the girls and they'll play in that Grand Forks League or across the river or somewhere, and so keep them active here and get them to improve their skills and play more ball. Thanks, Jake, for helping me out.
I just wanted to add to the lights, I did get a contact that, today. We will be receiving the lamps Wednesday, Thursday this week.
Okay, great.
And then the cabinet is still a little ways out, the 23rd or 25th, just so you know, it's gonna be shipped.
Okay, thank you. I got, one more item. I talked to Dan Jewell about the hybrid renewal, and he was in contact with his attorney, and no offense, Corky, but they don't move very fast.
They're the exception to the rule.
So anyway, and the attorneys for this group is out of Minneapolis, and I was in touch with Dan, so he's gonna get some kind of draft agreement to us or to Corky to have him look over. Also, I got wind today from also Christie and Dawn regarding at county meeting that land out there could possibly be county, but anyway, I relayed the message to Brandon, and he's gonna get a hold of Jake Snyder. Yep.
Snyder, yeah.
Yeah.
And, he's gonna do the work for me, legwork, so appreciate it. So yeah, I'll talk to Dan Jewell again soon, and I think once I get some information too from Brandon will give us an update on what's going on out there, if that's county land or city land, or I'm not sure what it's all about, but we'll do our due diligence and make sure it's right before we move forward with it, so we're on the right piece of property. If it's even possible out there, so.
Yeah.
So, no, lagoons.
Lagoon, yeah.
There were some questions about looking at the GIS map, whether it was county or city, and there's quite a few stipulations for renewable energies in county land, so that is what ultimately we're looking for.
Yeah, the city owns the lagoons, but not the outside land that we thought was the city's, so we're gonna take a look at that.
But, I don't know, we'll just let Brandon do his homework on it, and he'll bring us back more information. It's to kind of put the cart before the horse here, so.
Yeah, that's it, right.
Okay, that's all I got. I thank everybody tonight. We have no Ways and Means tonight, so nothing more to come before council. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Very good.